Hi, beautiful. Welcome to EBINOTTI Official. I am EBINOTTI, and today we are doing the spring equinox reading. Oh my goodness, is it spring already? Spring is in the air. So the equinox, if you're watching this when it first comes out, don't worry about the timeline. If you were drawn to this reading, then there's probably messages in it for you. But the spring equinox crossed us about 2 days ago. Technically a day the way I read it, because I do read it differently than the calendars, about a day off. I even bought different calendars this year because I always go to the same place and buy the same stuff. But this year I bought some extra calendars, a couple for Babe, from like a themed shop, like a horror shop. And the dates on all of the moon cycle stuff were different by a day. So if you get into astrology, you'll note that there are different ways to read the stars. And that's how it's feeling for this equinox. I'm sure you felt it cross you, whether you're into the moon cycles and astrology, or if you just happen to cross this message. The spring equinox was something that the entire collective, for the most part, really felt. And it's because it was paired up with a full lunar eclipse. So the full moon in Virgo was the full moon cycle going on at the same time that the spring equinox. We went from winter season to spring. Okay, so it was like full moon, lunar eclipse on the full scale, not just a little eclipse, a full lunar eclipse, full moon, full lunar eclipse. That was powerful. And we switched an entire season. Now, if you follow astrology, most of us in the spiritual kind of astrological realm of things, we always feel like the new year crosses us when the spring equinox hits, and we get from the end of the zodiac signs in Pisces season into Aries season. Okay, and the zodiac kind of resets and starts all over again. So that just happened. How are you feeling? Sleep cycle is a big thing that's been coming up for the collective. I've definitely taken note of that in my personal life, but also on a collective scale, that the sleep schedule, or what's going on, how peaceful the sleep is, or if there's nightmares, dreams, lots of grid work being done while we're asleep. On the ley lines, if you're, just one of those people that does grid work. Some of us did grid work all our lives and didn't even know it. Hi, my name is EBINOTTI. And that's just how it goes. And then you wake up to it one day and you're like, oh, that's why I'm a rough sleeper, is how I used to describe myself. So you can really tell if you're paying attention to your dreams, or if you're paying attention to how your sleep routine is right now. You can tell how you're being affected by the alignments in the cosmos, because now it's not just the moon cycle. It's things like the spring equinox, lunar eclipses are going on, all kinds of alignments in the skies. I'm not an astrologer, but I definitely follow astrology. Okay, so check out Facebook, EBINOTTI page on Facebook. I share a lot of things over there that I watch. If you're looking for a great astrologer, or you just want to know where I'm getting my info. For the most part, astrology is a study. It's something I study. I wouldn't say it's something that I yet practice. Okay, so today we're here to do some cards. We're going to do oracle cards and a tarot reading. So instead of just a tarot spread, we like to pull some oracle cards into it to get us started, to get a theme, to get us into alignment. So I'm already kind of mentally picking out the cards for us. That's why I'm looking around. I've got the altar here all set up. Shakespeare's in the background. If you could see him, or if you've been around long enough, you've definitely seen Shakespeare before, especially if you're over in the beauty world, because I have a beauty, EBINOTTI does beauty stuff and fashion and all that stuff too. So EBINOTTibeauty on YouTube or Instagram, you've probably seen our Shakespeare quite a bit. Cheers to you today if you're having some sips. I'm having a beautiful coffee. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm using the cheesy fake creamers, the flavored cream today. I like the International Delight brand. I'm here in Canada, if you don't know. Hi, we're Canadian. So cheers to you if you're having some beautiful coffee or some sips or tea or whatever you're into this morning, as we try to settle into this reading. Air coming up a little bit under spring equinox. No surprise, because the air is really getting that reset, refresh energy where everything's slowly starting to wake up, or at least where we are, because I'm way up in northern British Columbia, Canada. It's literally a very snowy climate. We finally got everything melt, and now we can see the grass again, and we can see, you know, everything in nature starting to want to come back to life. So it's slowly waking up from the slumbers, the hibernation season, the reset and reflection or healing season, which for the collective could be playing out in a big way this year. Okay, there's some of us within the collective or people we're connected to that it's going to be a big healing season this year, okay, for them in the grand scheme of things. So cheers to you today. That's delicious. We're going to sit down and have a smoke before we get into it as we pick our cards and just talk about the downloads, the things that have been coming up for the collective that I've been interpreting, perceiving, kind of collecting information to sit down here and bring to you, bring to us, the divine feminine tribe. We try to do a very healthy version of spirituality and femininity and just using our power, our wisdom, what I like to call our magic. Okay, but it's very much so in alignment with the spirit. And that means you could be out here and be for anyone, you know, whether you're into God or you're into source, the universe. You know, we talk about that in a pretty unique way. So I want you to take that as the first message. Let that be unique. Let that be yours. Okay, if you're being called to study or reflect on something new in your spirituality or your religion, don't panic. There's this energy right now for the spring equinox that's like, even outside of what you're reflecting on, just don't panic. Okay, there's no need to panic. Right now, you're guided, you're protected, you're capable, you're definitely ready. There's a sense of you're ready coming in, and it's springtime. I mean, for some of us, the kick in the butt message is get ready, like get ready for something really exciting or new or quick movement. If it's been stagnant for a while, stagnancy, not to be confused with healing. Okay, healing requires time and focused attention and allowing. There's so much allowing in the world of healing. So stagnancy is different. It's when you're not in a healing phase, because that's a lifelong journey. It's time to take action. So you don't want to be stagnant anymore. You want to get up and take action. Now, you can want all you want and need healing. Okay, so we always put a disclaimer in when we talk about things like magic and manifesting and all of that. Please know, around here, there is a higher being, creator, father, God, mother, universe, however you want to worship that godlike being. There is a greater being around here that we definitely give the disclaimer every time we desire, every time we say something we want, we manifest, we do magic. Okay, we tap into ethers, crystals, elements, energy, beings. It's always in respect to or in understanding of that it is beyond us. Okay, there's a lot of things out here that we cannot take any kind of credit for. So getting our little place, and then within our little place in the grand scheme, doing much. Okay, so very beautiful energy coming in. It's like a let's sit down and talk about it kind of energy. So you might have a lot of people in your life right now coming to you wanting to have conversations about things that have gone on with you guys, current or past, you know, or their philosophies. If people are coming to you with their philosophies, it's because in some way they trust you to hear the message and to understand them, or maybe straight up give them advice. You know, there's a lot of people looking for advice right now. There's a lot of advice to be given right now. So excuse me, if you're feeling the need to give advice and there's sort of nobody around willing to take it, excuse me, with the burps, maybe write a book, maybe sit down and do YouTube videos, or, you know, come up with a program or a lecture type. And you could do any platform, you could do any style, you could use any method, any tools available to you to share your philosophies, speak on them, get other people to talk on them or listen, whatever it is that if you're looking for advice, or if you just want to speak your advice, then give it to the world. You know, it doesn't always come in the way you want, and that's okay. You know, we have to do what we have to do. Okay. As the first deck gets called for the reading, we're going to use the Crystal Oracle today. Now, if you're ever curious about the decks that we use in the reading, I list my entire deck collection down below in the description box. Be sure to check out the description box if you do have any questions, or if you want to contact me for any kind of business stuff, personal readings, any of the offers that we currently have available. There is a deck we haven't seen for a while now. So the next oracle deck we're going to use for this reading is the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit Oracle. Get some of that animal totem, animal message, animal medicine messages in there. That's what I was trying to say. So the spring equinox, let's see. Before we shuffle up and get our cards for the reading, let's see if there's any other downloads that we had for the collective. Okay, collective, so that's pretty much it, but there is a little bit coming in wanting to be heard or spoke on about the season, the natural events of the season. So this is a season where gardening and kind of planning the garden, planning what you're going to seed, because it's a big project and it takes time. So you have to plan the stages of it, not, you know, perfectly. You don't have to do everything perfectly and get it all done like this week, but outlining at the very least, that's a big thing. Doing a little bit of an outline, a little bit of a planning, brainstorming. It's a beautiful time to mind map, brainstorm, vision board, mood board, start collecting in a focused way, start collecting information or inspiration for projects. Okay, so really starting to suss out. At some point here, when we are collecting a whole bunch of stuff, we start to filter out the things that are a no at some point too. So work on your own timeline. Whatever's feeling right for you is what you go with, always, of course. But yeah, the projects, the spring projects. So spring cleaning, decluttering. Oh, cleaning and decluttering. It's been a good couple months around here that cleaning and decluttering has been, and even realistically a couple of years, okay? Because for some of us, it's like, you know, generational family homes, and it takes time to make those decisions, to put in that work, because over the seasons, there's many other things going on, okay? So refocusing a little bit, figuring out what our priorities are, trying to put some energy into, in a focused way, into these projects, plans, you know, whatever you want, goals, intentions, the things that are most important to you right now. We don't necessarily need to get too complicated in that arena, though we can. We really want to just keep it really simple. I'm hearing my mom be like, hone it in, because that's always been sort of my need, was eventually it's like it's time to stop pulling inspiration and to hone it in and to get something done out of all of that work, right? So there is the need for me personally, and maybe you, is to focus and get something done in an arena for the sake of getting it done. Okay, some of these things can go on forever if we let them. Try and write your first book, and let me tell you, you could write that thing forever and never finish it, because perfection is something that is moody and seasonal. And as things shift in the moon and the sun and the stars and all the cosmos that affect us within our solar system, our neighborhood out here, things change. And if you don't ever put the book out, it'll never be finished. And trust me, every great writer, if books might not be your thing, but let's just go with it. Every great writer says that, you know, that there are projects that they wish they put more time into, or didn't work so hard for perfection. It could have been done 2 years sooner if they had just given in to allowing the project to be completed. Okay, so big message for the collective in the spring season. We usually read about a 2-week timeline for all of the readings that we do around here at EBINOTTI, because we do moon cycles. And every 2 weeks you transition from the new moon to a full moon, to a new moon, to a full moon, every 2 weeks. But this, in some way, we're planning for 3 months here, like the full season of spring just began on March 21st and will end on, you know, March, April, May. So June. June 21st will be the summer solstice. And you get a full 3-month period. So if you want to spread some things out, take some time, not rush the project, because that's another big message, is you don't want to just pump out books every 3 weeks. Sometimes you need to take 3 months for something to really be great. Okay, so we're trying not from society's version of what we should be doing, but when we're honest with ourselves, which could be a project in and of itself, we're trying, we're putting in the effort, and we're putting in the work, and we're giving it the attention that is needed. Now, this could be anything: a child, a project, a new career, or a new job, a new path, a new book, a new, you know, having, maybe you're wanting to start a family and it's going to be a new experience, right? So onwards we go. Full steam ahead. I just heard into spring, and I love that for us. I love that for us. Okay, we're ready. We're ready to get into the cards. So let's do it. Like I said, we're going to start with the Crystal Oracle deck. Shuffling up and getting into it today. Spring equinox for the collective. We're going to see what the messages are today. Personal readings are still available for me if you're interested. The contact information to get in touch and get a price list and information sent to you is down in the description box. You just email me. It's pretty easy. If you have me on social media, or you follow EBINOTTI anywhere on social media, you can just direct message me there as well. Hey, I want a reading, or I was thinking about a reading. Can you send me the info? Can you send me the price list? I might ask you a few questions, but I will send you the price list. You can let me know if you have any experience with tarot, if you've had a reading before, to speed up the process, if you just want to get in and get booked, okay, for your next reading. Fair enough. I always like to kind of check with people and just make sure that they know what they're doing and where their head's at, so that they can, you know, have a good, healthy experience. Get what they're looking for, if you will. If you search, if you seek, you shall find. Okay, that's a big message for the collective right now. If you're into manifesting, spirituality, seek and you shall find. Okay, and these cards are ready, so let's cut the deck and see what we get on the bottom of the deck first. As a little theme, tourmaline with inner peace. Inner peace. Do you watch Kung Fu Panda? I just love, we watch so much cinema around here and love to talk about it. So inner peace, baby, all sacred and safe within that beautiful gazebo-like stone circle garden, Zen vibes coming through very, very strong with the inner peace. Tourmaline is a beautiful stone. We keep huge chunks of it over here on the altar for protection, for clarity, for inner peace. Okay, so getting started in the springtime. We're not gonna get too crazy, okay? We're not gonna think too much, worry too much, stress too much. We're gonna try and let that stuff go right now and lean into our faith, lean into our trust and love and kindness and compassion and all of the wonderful things on the other side of worry, okay? Because that's usually where, from a good person, where your worry's coming from. So lean into your faith. If worry is on the table for you, lean into your faith, whatever that is for you, okay? Instead of worry. Because it's not helping. It's not helping, okay? Unless there's an immediate threat, or you need to learn something, do something, acquire something, then your worry is doing nothing but adding stress to your life and others. Woo, as we get our card. It was a weird one, but it was obvious. And on the bottom now, this is going to stay face up on the altar as we pull all the rest of our cards. And we did get our card for the reading, but I haven't seen it yet. Tiger's Eye with balance, beautiful stone, ancient wisdom to be had in the study of Tiger's Eye, okay? But when it comes to the balance, it's a heart-based balance where the mind comes into it to have a say, okay? That's why you see the scales of justice looking righteous in this, and the big border of fire, trial by fire. We've been talking about that for going on years, okay? Because we're in 2025 right now. So what is the dark and light balance within you? How are you cultivating and growing constantly through your own aspects of dark and light? How are you benefiting the world or impacting the world with your own dark and light, and then allowing when it comes to others, because we pulled this deck, the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, we know that others are going to be involved for this energy that we're reading, the spring equinox. We know that others are involved. So being very careful, kindness and compassion is the way to go. If you're panicking and you're stuck in fear because socially you don't know how to maneuver anymore, kindness and compassion, go with that, okay? Because it works. You got to give it to yourself first so that you can step out now in your strength with your head held high. Period. End of fucking discussion. But we do discuss that a lot. With your head held high, and then showing the world that regardless, okay, that you are still capable of kindness and compassion, as we get a huge ringing in the ears, bringing in all of our spirit team for us, because we are protected and we are guided by positive forces out here, okay? Or, you know, the earth element. We don't even get a crystal for our reading. We get the earth element. So very grounded. This is our life. This is who we are. We are a 3D human being in the earth realm, okay? And that means that there are rules, there are laws, there are all kinds of things that we have to interact with on a daily basis. And that's why balance is so important. So bringing the mind and the heart together can always help you when it comes to making decisions, to stay in alignment, to stay in your truth, so that you're not ashamed of your actions and that you're smashing out here, that you're just smashing. Even if on your worst day, you still love yourself, trust yourself, and know that you're who you want to be and who you are truthfully, authentically, you're good, okay? You're golden. Nobody can really come in and take from you. You know what I mean? Of course, it's just a very fluid type of universe that we're in. And there are many losses and gains on a daily basis. There's much giving and receiving out here. So really accepting and surrendering to what is in the 3D realm. It's a very practical, logical energy. And also not giving up, not giving into despair, always being there and being present and continuing to put in effort, okay, for ourselves and for the world, the universe, the greater good, what is left of what is good, okay? Fighting the good fight every minute of the day in a big way. I'm feeling for you, collective. That means you, darling. I'm feeling for you for sure. So we're here, we're supporting you, sisters, aunties, daughters, we're out here supporting you in a big way, whatever you're going through right now, okay? As we step into our next oracle deck, we're going to see a little bit more what's going on here. One more shuffle. Okay, and let's cut this deck and see who's on the bottom for us as we get into the animal totems. Ooh, your energy, as this card is face up. So reversals come in this deck. It's one of the only deck I actually do reversals in. And every time you see a reversal, the way I read this deck is it's an exterior force. So this being face up, this is your energy. It's playful, it's magical, it's full of the wonder of the inner child, the possibilities, and the newness and openness and beauty of life, the wonder, the fulfillment, the joy, just erupting out of this energy to get us started here, okay? So in the earthly realm and within the domain of the sea, we get some really powerful creatures and energy out here to align with us if we're looking for the sign that we're not alone and that it's going to be okay. It comes in pretty strong. That did not take long, okay? We got 2 cards. I only needed 1, but we got the 2 together, and we're going to take them, but we can't see them yet. So on the bottom of the deck, again, this card is now going to stay face up on the altar as we pull the rest of our cards in reverse, which I said is an exterior force. We get moth energy. I'll show you this card. Air element coming through here with the moth. We're talking about transformation. We're also talking about psychoanalysis. So the psychotropics, if we're some of us going there, there might be influence coming in to step outside your philosophical realm right now and go a little bit more into legends and myths, history, philosophy, religion, so many different ways the collective can be leaning into some kind of a question, a curiosity, or research here. And the influence is coming from the exterior. So we do have to be a little bit careful with this influence now, because it could go dark. I'm not saying the person coming in necessarily is going to be trying to manipulate or sway you into darkness. Misery loves company. Demons are real and they're out here influencing people. It's not necessarily that, but it is feeling a little bit tempting. Okay, so being careful with our desires and our curiosities, because curiosity does kill the cat sometimes. Okay, so if you ain't got 9 lives out here, you want to be careful. If you value, you know, your life, your safety, your what you've got, your sanity for some of us, because this, with the legends and myths, especially the first thing that we interpreted off of this, it's like you can kind of crack your sanity a little bit, and that can be cognitive dissonance, which is actually a good type of breaking within the brain, because you're stepping outside of limiting beliefs that aren't necessarily true. So you might step back into the belief because you've assessed it, but sometimes you step out of the belief forever because you no longer believe it and it's no longer true for you. Okay, so a lot of reflection, a lot of transformation, very much so coming up in the mental space for us. Now I want to see our cards. Ooh, okie smoky, both upright. So we know that this is going to be your energy here. The cosmic egg and the earthworm. Now, if you see the colors pairing up really beautifully here with that sort of rainbow spectrum, we get earth energy with the earthworm. Awesome for us. And we get the ether element here. That's what that alchemical symbol is, the ether element with the cosmic egg. So very much so protected here. It's feeling very sacral chakra and solar plexus, so below the heart space. And it's both of these energies are speaking on the newness of things and like the way we saw the dolphin to get us started. When things are new, they are often, you know, a beautiful path for us to walk, to experience, reflect, heal, do all these wonderful things. And sometimes when things are new coming into our sphere, they're coming in to challenge us because we're actually walking a path already that something or someone is coming in and trying to sway us off of. Okay, so again, it's a bit of a warning energy out here to be balanced. Tiger's eye, again, it's a protection stone, because when we first pulled this deck, we saw tourmaline, and that's definitely what I use tourmaline for, is that sort of clarity and protection when we're making moves, when we're doing shit. You can interpret this black stone, and then we have a white one, as tourmaline over here protecting us. And then on the other side, you choose, is it clear quartz, selenite, you know, like what do you got over here in the light? It's an ether energy over here for sure. So any interpretation you need, if you're working with crystals, if you're starting something new, be very, very careful in the realm of witchcraft and magic and manifesting, or even religious text. Any deep dive into power right now, or you know, what's gone on historically with different modalities, tools, philosophies, and power, same thing. It's being very careful that we know that we're protected, but we don't want to be out here just whipping it around. Earthworms and things like that are very delicate creatures, and they do have to be careful, you know what I mean? So being slightly cautious, but not fearful. Okay, there's no need for fear here. Even in the Moth, I'm getting all of those, you know, Slender Man horror movies, Mothman Prophecies, which I might go back and watch that one tonight. The Butterfly Effect is coming through. So even Doctor Strange, the multiverse, so multiverse stuff, and looking at dimensions, and especially like this, you know, this is Canada. It's very much so like a multicultural nation. There's many different religions, philosophies, interpretations right now of spirituality are sort of trending. So this new age movement of this is what it means, you know. Lean into your history, your bloodline, start there if you're not called to, like, you know, a specific philosophy within the collective, or if you're feeling the need to protect yourself a little bit and step back because maybe you found yourself a little bit more down a path and you want to be alone or something like that. If you need to step back and pull into a kind of safe space, do that. Okay, that cosmic egg coming through with the serpent. So last month we stepped into, with the lunar cycles, the lunar calendar of the Chinese, we stepped into the year of the snake and out of the year of the dragon. So very much so about that cosmic wisdom, whatever you're being called to research. I'm very much so an academic by nature, so I research always. I'm always researching something. Right now, what am I researching? Oh, right now I'm researching religion and philosophical history, I guess you could say, my own interpretation of God, the Bibles, because there's a few of them out here that are relevant in our timeline, and for me it just doesn't feel right to read one of them. You got to read all of them if you choose to read them. So it might be that time to finally pick up a book, or that book, the book, maybe, you know, because people will be like, it's the book, and it's like, okay, you know, like, let's read the book then and get our own, at this stage, get our own interpretation. Okay, so being very careful but also not fearful. Cheers to your bravery. Okay, and it's time for the tarot cards. So, picking up a classic, the Rider-Waite Tarot. We don't do a lot of classic around here, and this one it's got flair, okay? It's a little bit of holographic with the spectrum, and I think it's perfect because we saw that rainbow spectrum on both of the unknown animal spirit cards, right? So we're gonna lean into that energy a little bit. And we're going to take the signs, follow the inspired feeling. Again, whoever you are in alignment with out here, that's who you're going to follow your inspiration from, and be very, very clear who and what you are worshiping when you are out here giving praise and thanks and energy. And now that's coming in a social dynamic as well, as you want to be a little bit careful with your words right now. And feeling like when you're you're out, you're social, you're in a mood, and you're feeling really good, and you're just like spreading love and all of that, you still want to be careful, okay? Because it is a time where what you say will be brought up at a later date. And that counts for things on social media, things that you're saying to people, and you think, well, what's wrong with spreading love? What's wrong with giving compliments? The only thing wrong with it, because there's nothing wrong with that at all, please do. You know, we need a lot more love and kindness and compassion, compliments out here. But the thing is, there's another person involved, and that person that you're giving the compliments to is now not only aware of you because you focused on them and called their attention to you by speaking to them. They're going through their own stuff, and their interpretation of your compliment could be many things, okay? So a little bit of a message coming through to listen more than you speak, unless you're really being called to speak right now. You can, you know, sort of kick back and spread the love in other ways where it's not always compliments, and it's not always the need to be the one speaking. Love that message. It kind of feels like relief, like you can sit back and you can relax and you don't have to be the one, you know? Okay, here we go with the tarot. Bottom of the deck, I love it. 6 of Pentacles, which is the earth element, baby. And if you take a good look at it, you'll see the energy of the scales of justice again coming up, like we saw in the balance. That's what this 6 of Pentacles is really about, generosity in the earthly realm. And also knowing when and where. There's a real big energy of alignment and timing here, because choosing the subjects to be generous with, to give to, and then allowing the receiving from is very important. Has everything to do with your ability to discern what is right for you and what is not. What you want to spend time and energy on, what you want to give to, and where you want to receive. Sometimes we need, right? Like say money, that was the Pentacles energy. So sometimes we need stuff and people want to give it to us and we don't want it from them. Think of dating, think of love. The person who loves you, you don't love them. The person you love, they don't love you. Why is unrequited love such a thing? And are we in our own way there? Or are we right. And whether we love someone who doesn't love us, we know now what we want. And the person who loves us that we don't love, we're not willing to go there and settle. Is it that? You got to ask yourself, again, discernment, okay? As we get our first card out. My hair is driving me crazy. Let's just flip it and be done with it so I can stop thinking about it and it can stop touching my face. Transformation with the Death card. Major Arcana number 13. That's a big one. That's a big, heavy hitting energy here when we got our Death Rider. I'm feeling the energy of our flag up here of the Lovers because they are in death stage, okay? So the transformation, the ability and willingness to leave things behind, and the reflection on what we are no longer, what we have grown into. This is a huge, coming off of winter. If you haven't done the work to reflect on how far you've come and what you are now and all of that, it's time. It's been time to transform in this way, okay? Also, now this Death Rider, feeling very much so like the interpretation of the Moth, somebody coming in to allow the safe space, to give us that key, that piece of information that cracks something wide open and we can fully transform, allow limiting beliefs to be left behind, and allow a new identity or a new truth to come in for us. Okay, let's keep going here. Excuse me. Spring equinox for the collective, please. We're going straight to God on this one. I just heard we're going straight to God on this one. And that's really beautiful because whether it's creator, universe, source, or God for you, I believe that all of us are interpreting and connecting to the same thing as we get some cards. Because I think the real choice is good or evil out here that we get to choose. I think the real choice is good and evil, okay? So as long as you got that one sorted, you'll be all right. The Magician. We got 3 cards fall. This is the only one that's face up and it came first. So this is all we get to see right now. Beside Death, Major Arcana number 1, beside Major Arcana number 13, like we are not messing about here. We got Major Arcana to start this reading. So Spring Equinox, it's not just a transition, it's a whole new beginning here. So you can leave as much behind as you want to. You don't have to be fearful that if you stop thinking about something or stop focusing on something, oh my God, it's going to happen to you again. Unless you yourself have not transformed, unless you yourself choose. That the Magician has so much power to choose, and it's a beautiful thing that a lot of people forget when they talk about magic, manifesting, you know, working with God to align to our path and create or experience within God's will. Same vibe. And that's the thing, is unless you're willing to transform here, the power is just going to be less than. Okay, so this is a huge amount of power, a huge amount of choice, transformation, opportunity, where you become, all the opportunities you ever had before are different if you allow that split. Okay, where before this moment and after this moment, shit's just different. Okay, so you can do this mentally. You could just do it mentally. You could just lean into this with absolutely no evidence to support it. You could lean into this, okay? Because both of these Major Arcana and a lot of this reading are talking about spirit working with you. Ether and God and your guides working with you, okay? So this is a receiving energy. Also, you have willpower. You have to do more than receive. You have to choose things that you want. That means thinking about things, deep diving when you have questions, so putting in the work. And it is a lot of work, take my word for it. I'm into academia, I love research, I love asking questions and being full of wonder and imagination, and it's a lot of work. So if that's not a natural happy place for you, like it is for me, then it might be a lot of work for you, okay? So making it fun, as we saw the dolphin, all the inner child energy, the earthworm, out here having the best time, living the best life, even if to you it's just an earthworm. Earthworm ain't concerned, okay? Got all the wisdom of the cosmos and the egg energy to be creating and birthing and starting something new. Our third card out, which is going to be our central energy in this 5-card spread, we have the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Fire. Look at you go. Okay, this is your central energy looking brilliant, beautiful, like all of the things that you want to value in others. This is what you are right now. So you do have to surrender and allow the transformation if you're not the thing that you've been mentally wanting to be. Like, I was born with curly hair, I want it straight. That's fine, but there are some things it's not as fine, and you do need to release them in order to fully embody all of the energy, all of the power. These two side by side, you know, like this is you and your energy and your power in all of your aspects coming out to be activated, to be used in a righteous way. Remember, balance with Tiger's Eye. I need to see the 4th card now. Wow, that is huge. It's huge so far. All these cards are big, powerful cards. Major Arcana number 14, Temperance. Talking about alchemy. On either side of your central energy right now, you've got huge amounts of magic, power, manifesting, alignment, opportunities, God's will for you coming in to be interpreted by you, protected, you're healed. It's a huge amount of power coming in here, okay? So doing what you want, doing it absolutely to the best of your ability, not worrying about other people's version, okay? Not worrying about if your identity is shifting right now for you, then that's a beautiful thing, and allow that to be truth and honesty and wisdom within you. So leaning truly into who and what you are and doing the most with it here, okay? As Temperance being the 4th card out, meaning it's coming towards us. Temperance is the energy of needing to heal a little bit, but it's not like necessarily for all of us a healing season, even though for a lot of us, I already spoke on it being a healing year, okay? So just lean into that now if that's for you as we get our next cards. But it's also the healing of certain situations of things you're trying to actively create. So in the moment, healing on the go, okay? It's like stitching things up, figuring it out down the road. And when the timing is right, it just comes in. Temperance is an angel energy that comes in to work with you to help you with something, okay? So very much so coming in to help you get something done, figure something out, move a little bit faster. As we get 2 more cards, the Knight of Swords is going to be our 5th and final card in this reading, and then we clarify these 5 cards. So Knight of Swords coming out very action heavy. It's usually a swift mental energy, but it's feeling like all the knights do, like a warrior, like movement, like a lot of energy coming into the mind all at once. So we get excited, or like I said, we can panic, right? This can crack the mental space a little bit, and we can start throwing all kinds of other energy around. Anger and frustration is really popular. Like I said, we've got the full moon Virgo looming, okay? And that brought with it a full lunar eclipse. So a lot of full moon energy out here, being very careful with our words. We already said that. The Knight of Swords, it's one of the simplest messages when you learn tarot off of this night is be very careful with your words, because you can pop off at the mouth a little bit, meaning you can really lash out with your words, because really you're trying to emotionally heal. And even if that worry is coming from the place of the best intentions, guess what? The road to hell is paved with good intentions, okay? So you got to do better than that. We got 1 more card, and it's going to be our first clarifier coming out to clarify the Death card, our first card out, the 8 of Swords. Okay, so talking about mental barriers, just to clarify the message that we've already given, this is very much so a validated repeat the message so we all heard it in the back, okay? We don't want to let ourselves get mentally blocked and fearful in the heart and the gut, because trust me, your guts will start acting up on you if you're not lining in. So if your guts start acting up on you, lean into maybe a quiet night where you do something for yourself, whether it's read a book and do skincare and meal prep, or it's like 8 hours of fucking Netflix because I need to get my shit together right now. Babe, as long as you're leaning into healing and not just distraction. For those of us who need to take a mental break, we know what kind of distraction we need, and it's probably inner child work. Despicable Me has been on my playlist. Kung Fu Panda just came off the playlist, and on I go with my Disney references and my... Look, it's just how we do it around here, okay? Because it's a very mental energy, we know how powerful the mind is, and we have to be very careful to stay in balance, or things like the Eight of Swords can trip us up, okay? And then we can start lashing out. We don't want all of this beautiful opportunity and power and energy and healing coming into us to be stinted, faltered, or siphoned off or wasted away because we're not taking the time to face down the small things that when we get in there, they are small things, okay? So it's simple things. Lean into your people. Don't feel embarrassed if you want to talk about the same old fears. And you feel kind of like a dork or like a kid or like a big loser, being like, Mom, can we do some Bible study? Look, babe, you got to do what you got to do, okay? We got one more out here. Our next clarifier coming out under the Magician card, our second row, we get the Four of Pentacles. So we just saw the 8, now we see the 4, a little bit of a doubling, halving, mirroring kind of energy going on with it. And again, it's fear-based energy, okay? So if we try to manifest from a place of fear, I lack this, I need this because I don't have it, we don't manifest as much. When we realize that in any circumstance, if we have our mind, our heart, our, like our sanity, our heart, and our healthy, strong body in any condition that is still functioning, we have it all. Okay, there's nothing more, and especially if we have spirit, if we are aligned to whatever truth in God that we believe, we have it all, and we cannot move from lack. Okay, so the Four of Pentacles on the flip side of the fear is a beautiful, strong, powerful energy where you have all 4, baby, just like in the Magician. You have all 4 pentacles. I don't know what the hell you're so afraid of, or what somebody's lying to you and telling you that you should be afraid and you don't have, and you're not enough, and you need to this and you need to that. When you're working with spirit, when you're following your path, when you're aligned to your spiritual journey, you do not need to fear the way it was done another way, the way it should be done. Okay, we've seen enough inner child energy here that we know we are allowed to do it the way we are being called to do it. If we were coming up with it as some get rich quick scheme, that's a different thing. You don't move on that energy, okay? The energy of spirit aligning and giving you infinite wisdom and power to move, that is 8, as above, so below. That is working with the will of God or the universe, okay? So that's what we're aligning to here, and that's how we move through the maybe more sticky, scary, darker waters, okay, or the more challenging things in the mental space and the gut. The mind and the stomach are like the gut brain, the intuitive gut. The brain, the mind, and the gut are so connected that we can cause so much ailments in the body. So sometimes we need to focus there for a little bit. And with the 8 of Swords being out here, beside the 4 of Pentacles, we need to be a little bit less fearful than we have been surrounding what we're capable of, what we're mastering, or even like what the hell we're doing out here sometimes with Death and the Magician. It's like, what am I doing? You're transforming. You're activating power. You're aligning to your path, your journey, your truth. And it doesn't matter the job, the guy, the whatever is going on in the earthly realm. This is what's going on in the emotional body, in the spiritual realm, okay? As we are reminded of things like cosmic egg being on the other side across from Earth, we get the cosmic egg. So finding balance in and out. In our, when they teach you about law of attraction and manifestation, the law of detachment is a really important one that people miss often, because it's going back to your real life and still holding the magic, the excitement, the thrill, the beauty and joy and trust and faith of what is. And when you go even deeper and you connect back to God, because you don't want to be fucking with demonic witchcraft out here, you know that there's always the disclaimer, if it's not meant for me though, God, I don't want it. What is that? Okay, we got the cards. Central energy coming out under the Queen of Wands. Wow, the 10 of Pentacles, the 10 of Earth, and it's so beautiful. It's wealthy, healthy, strong foundations, because we're clarifying the Queen of Wands here. So these two guys are going to be clarifying the 4 of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles beside that Queen of Wands. It's very strong. It's a very very strong amount of energy that you have. So where does the ability to manifest from the Magician, where does that come from? If we see Temperance and the need for help on the other side of that, here's where your strength comes into the collective, or that means like your community, your family, your relationship, your career. Here's where your strength comes in, your beauty and your brilliance, your intuitive ability to create fucking magic, baby. Sprinkle that magic in when you go to work, when you show up in your full embodiment of your fire, your passion, your creativity, your beauty, your brilliance. It's not about showing off how much you know. It's about saying the right thing at the right time and adding to instead of taking from situations. And that's what that 10 of Pentacles is showing us. Look how much you add. Look at the value and balance that you bring to your collective, your tribe, your world, your family, okay? You are out here doing it, and I'm so proud of you. Good job. You are just killing it, and I'm so proud of you. Okay, we got another one face up, so we got to look at it. Under Temperance, the 3 of Cups. Beautiful amount of support within the feminine collective here for you, whether it's physically, you can see it and feel it. I certainly can. Got a round table with the 3 of Cups out here right now, and I'm so happy for us to have that. So if you don't have that, that's why I do readings like this, so you have somewhere to go. When I didn't have it, I found somewhere to go as well, okay? So look at the support coming in for you. It's not just spirit coming in to give you messages and make you feel safe. It's spirit showing up for you in other people, making you feel healed, seen, heard, loved, protected, and supported. So everybody gets a turn, okay, to be the one that everyone's throwing up cups for. So again, learning to take a back seat when it's somebody else's time to shine, and learning to accept and enjoy when it's your time to shine. Okay, that's that kind of 3 feminine energies cheersing. Cheers to you. Okay, and we got our final card. On the bottom of the deck, the 7 of Wands. We're going to have to talk about that in a second. But I couldn't see it, and I knew I needed to. Under the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Air, okay? The Warrior of Air. We get the 9 of Cups. So this is why sometimes we can get triggered and be uncompassionate. I don't know. One of those lacking in compassion people. And it's not because you're, such a terrible person if you do lash out, if you do pop off. Listen, apologies, taking the time to come back and say something about it. Let's not forget why manners and civilization are even a relevant conversation. The reason that manners and civilization are so important is because this is relationships. This is respect and being an honorable person. The warriors focus very much so on honor, action, outcome, like if they were successful or not successful. So not being ashamed and taking the time to line up to the heart space. That's what 9 cups of water are doing here. They're aligning for you. So when we saw the 10 of Pentacles centrally under the Queen of Fire, 10 is about the group. Because it's a closing and opening energy, the 10 is already at the 1, so it's a 10 to 1, 10 to 1 cyclical energy. It's the long-term success, the long-term abundance, the long-term joy, happiness, health, home, stability. The 9 as a number is about self-reflection, independence, uniqueness, image, all of the things that you do on your own. So here, really taking the time to reflect on what you feel within the heart space and speaking that truth, using that sword and that warrior energy to line up to what you truly believe in and really are a warrior for. Okay, so this is where you are uniquely a warrior for your heart space, the things that matter to you. Again, with the central energy being the Queen of Fire, passion and all of that should be very clear to you under not just this moon with the lunar eclipse, but as we cross into the spring season, okay? If you've been lacking in creative projects, or you don't know what to do this spring, or you're going through such a big transformation that you can't predict what spring is going to bring for you, it's really just aligning to or allowing yourself to continue to grow within the mental space as you continue to align to your heart space, your truth. It's, you know, shedding all of the should be's and getting into the, yeah, but what am I, or what do I want, or what does it really feel like in the moment? Sometimes we have to make like pretty big decisions, with the queen being central. It's like she rules kingdoms. She's got a lot going on in her career or her responsibility, or within the kingdom, the people she takes care of, looks out for, is responsible for. Okay, so remembering that in some way as we get older, we're all role models out here, and we really want to take the time to, you know, just make sure that we're interpreting what truth and honor and our code, our laws, our rules that we follow are all about. Okay, so we don't get so easily swayed with some of these energies. It's like we already saw that there's going to be people very interactive over this season. Springtime, everybody kind of comes out of hibernation and finally starts to get a little more social. Even those of us who aren't that social, it's still that season where being social is going to be on the table in one way or another. Okay, so being careful that we're not being swayed into, you know, just temptation, lust, all the distracting things that maybe if you haven't experienced anything, yeah, you're gonna, you know, stumble around in the dark and get some experience out here. But for the rest of us, it's like we have a lot of experience, and we need to be careful with temptation, because it will get us distracted and just waste a bunch of time, and nobody wants to, you know, just leave things shamefully around on the path. We want to make sure we're closing cycles as we go. Okay, bottom of the deck as our final message for the reading, the Seven of Fire, the Seven of Wands. Okay, a little defensive. It's a little defensive. Even the central energy, the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Fire, it's like, yeah, sometimes people just want to be an asshole because you look good, or you're having a good season, and you really do. Like, if you look at him in the Seven of Wands, it's like he doesn't even have two matching socks or boots, or like what even is one a boot and one a sock? He's kind of in his nightgown, like he clearly just got like rushed out of bed and had to like go, and it's not like, oh, it's war, it's life and death, but I mean, hey, it's life and death out here, right? But it's more like people kind of coming in and just poking at you and constantly like throwing shit at you, and it's just because you're looking strong, powerful, you're doing stuff. I mean, if you don't want to defend yourself in any way, then do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. You know what I mean? It's that kind of energy. So I'm not trying to downplay, because for some of us, it's like, man, we are really getting like beaten with the club here. And sometimes it's hard. It comes from your own friends and family. They're just constantly riding your ass, and you're like, holy fuck, like I'm busy, or I've got stuff to do. So again, with that Knight of Swords energy being out here, it's like you're not alone in it. Don't feel like don't take everything to heart, right? Under the Seven of Wands on the bottom of the deck, I'm getting ahead of myself. Under the Seven of Wands on the bottom of the deck, the Three of Swords, which shows like there's a lot of people willing to cut you up in all of their rainy day, dark night of the soul energy. Okay, so giving as much grace as we can possibly manifest to defend ourselves, but not to get out here and start swinging our club because we're hurt now. Okay, we want to be the higher person. We want to rule the kingdom with justice and honor, and not take things so personally, even though when you rule kingdoms, that means you take a lot more shit than the average person. Okay, and that's what it is to have a heavy crown. Okay, so, you know, you are what you are, and you've got what you got, and that's what you have to deal with here. So a lot of surrender energy, and sometimes crying it out and just being sad. And then when it's all cried out and it's all said and done, and you vented to the point of it's all done, getting back to work. Okay, getting back to who you are and what you do in ruling kingdoms, taking the time you need for yourself, but not getting stuck there and not dwelling in it. Okay, not taking everything so personally, especially if it's your subjects kind of throwing, you know, shit at you. They are not your peers. They are your subjects. They are people you care for. That could be your children. That could be the people that you rule over at work. But one way or another, if you rule over people, it's not about power and control. It's about power and responsibility. We're going to leave that one right there. Thank you so much for being here today for the Spring Equinox Reading Collective. I love you. You know, it's been a little bit of a minute. I'll explain in the next moon cycle readings. We are still going to read for the full moon Virgo. If you're watching this when it first comes out, full moon Virgo, we've crossed it like a week ago. But we've got time and we need to sit and discuss. So we will be back. Make sure you're subscribed. Boop. Hit that notification bell so that you get notified of all the new uploads. Yeah, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot more to discuss. So we will see you on your next reading. Thank you for being here. I needed to say it. I was like, did I say thank you? Thank you for being here and doing the work that you do on you. We love you for it. I love you, and I will see you in your next reading.